Hi, everybody. I'm Lily Tongue-Crystal, the Artistic Director at Theater Mu in the Twin Cities. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Mu-tini Hour, the live online hangout where we bring you the nation's most engaging theater artists who happen to be Asian American. This is our final virtual event of the year, and we're keeping it in the family because of that. So tonight I'm joined by the amazingly talented and dedicated staff at Theater Mu. We like to call ourselves Mu Squad. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
I'm eternally grateful to them every day. I thank my lucky stars for this staff. So welcome to you all, and thanks for joining us on this very special Mu-tini Hour. Hello, my name is. But before we get started, we would like to do a land acknowledgement and acknowledge that the land we're on today in the Twin Cities is the traditional homelands of the Dakota people. While you are here, we encourage you to think about these questions created by Dakota visual artist Angela Two Stars and Navajo theater artist Rihanna Yazi. What is your intent being on this land and in this community? How will you use the new resources you gain by being here? How will you replace the things that you take from here? How will you carry the knowledge of the Native people, present, past, and future in the work you do? And finally, how will you increase Indigenous power? Now, tonight is going to be a bit different from past Mu-tini Hours because tonight I get to be a regular guest rather than the host, and I'm so excited. It is my pleasure to hand the rest of the night to our development director, Wesley Morey.
Thank you.
Yay!
Hey!
I'm sure the Facebook feed's going crazy. Hi, everybody. Well, I'm so excited to be hosting Mu-tini Hour tonight with, honestly, some of my favorite people in the entire world. Hashtag Mu Squad forever. But tonight we're going to be discussing what it means to claim space as Asian American artists and professionals, and more specifically, how having Asian names has affected all of our lives and careers. So speaking of claiming space, before we start, we would love to hear from you all at home. So if you can sign in by clicking on the link, which will be posted in the chat, it's theatermu.org/link. LINK. And you can also help by sharing this video with your family and friends here on Facebook. We have loved providing these virtual events for you throughout the past year. And in fact, it's really exciting because this year we have produced more content than in any other Mu season. And we have reached audiences in 43 states and 12 countries, which I think is insane, but really cool. And even though we're distanced from each other, it's been nice to feel like we've connected with communities across the globe. But we have some really exciting things in store for 2021 as a response to this larger audience we have now. So I do want to encourage you, because it is partially my job as development director, but if you have been impacted by Mu's work this year, we really hope you can donate in any amount by clicking on that same link in the chat, theatermu.org/link, or you can donate directly on Facebook by clicking the donate button. But now it is time to introduce the stars of the evening. So why don't we go around and we can share our name, our position at Mu, how long you've been on staff, and then you can tell us about the cocktail that, of course, was a requirement for Mu-tini Hour. So I'll go first, and then we can just, everyone's favorite thing to do on Zoom, just popcorn, call out somebody else's name. So my name is Wesley Morey, and I have been the development director here at Mu since May of this year. And being a development director, my main job is establishing and maintaining relationships with our donors, subscribers, and corporate partners. So if you want to get more connected with Mu, I'm your guy. Reach out about anything. And tonight, my cocktail is an old-fashioned. And this is a classic old-fashioned. I know that there are many different ways to have an old-fashioned, but mine is 4 ingredients: sugar, bitters, an orange peel, and bourbon. And that's it. No Sprite, no sour, no cherries. Please do not put those in my old-fashioned. I do not like them.
Not even a cherry?
No, I don't like cherries. I know I should, but it makes me a great person to drink with because I will give you all my cherries instead, as they're in so many drinks. And I will pass it off to Kevin, since you are making fun of my dislike of cherries.
Hello, my name is Kevin Jung. I am a lover of cherries. I'm the marketing communications director here at Theater Mu. I have been here since 2018, right after I graduated college. So this is my first real job and my only real adult job I've ever had. Marketing communications, all the content that you see that isn't on stage, I basically put out for you to enjoy. So everything on the website, social media, like the programs and like playbills and all the design stuff, all the stuff you get in the mail, your emails. That's me. I send that to you. So if you get too much, that's also me. That's my fault. So. I am drinking an Aperol Spritz, but I don't have a lot of Aperol, but I have a lot of Prosecco. So it's mainly just, it's Prosecco. It's just red Prosecco.
It's very European of you, Aperol Spritz.
Thanks. I don't know if you know this, but I did study abroad in college.
College? So long ago.
Okay, I'll popcorn to Mooks.
Hello, friends. My name is Sai Mukdado Pusai Vongsai, but I'm known as Mooks on the streets, these Theater Mu streets. I am the playwright in residence at Theater Mu through the Mellon Foundation. And I've actually been friends with Mu since 2011, when Rick Shiomi was like, "You want to write plays?" And I was like, "Uh-huh." And then he was like, "All right, let's write plays." I'm like, "Okay." So that's how I got into theater. And I am drinking Riesling because I'm a boring person, and it's telling me to relax, because that's what I want to do tonight, is relax.
You're drinking Riesling because you can have the whole bottle and it's just easy to refill, right?
Yeah, I thought it'd be classy and drink from like a crystal glass, but really I could just do this. Okay, Audrey.
Hi everyone, my name is Audrey Park. I am the programs manager at Theater Mu, and I joined kind of like officially the staff, I guess, like 2019, honestly, but I was introduced to Mu a while back, like 2012, 2013, again through Rick Shiomi, who's just like, you're Asian, you're an actor. That's Rick. And I am drinking, this is my first time making it, how do you pronounce it? Boulevardier?
That's probably it.
Yeah, that's spot on. It's basically a Negroni, but instead of gin, you use whiskey. So.
Oh wow, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, I was told it's a good like winter drink. So.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you. I will pass it to Lily.
Hi. So you already introduced myself. I'm Lily, the artistic director of Mu, and I am drinking some red wine. It's actually a place called Paradox, and one of my favorite wineries in the Bay Area from Napa Valley, and they do sort of mixed red wines. So.
And the glass is almost empty, so you better fill that up.
That's why I have my bottle with me.
Oh, you just had your year anniversary, right? Back in August, right?
Yes. I had my year anniversary in August of being at Mu and in the Twin Cities. I moved there from the Bay Area, and so someone asked me that today, actually. So it's been like 15 months, I guess. You're almost 16 months.
And it's probably everything you imagine your first year would be.
And more.
Yeah, everything I imagine and more. Yes. I imagine I'd be doing really fascinating and intriguing work with wonderful people, which I'm doing. I just never thought it would be through Zoom squares and through a pandemic. But I'm grateful to be here and to have this opportunity given this time. So yeah, and a lot of that is thanks to you all. So I'll pass it off to Ang Tu.
My name is Famti Angtu or Angtu, and I go by she, her. We didn't do pronouns, but I thought I'd throw it in anyways. And I have been here at Mu since July, but I've been around Mu for a little while. I've just been a fangirl. And I don't know what to say I do. I do all the contracts and payroll. I do all the boring stuff. And I do, I do all the boring stuff. And I'm drinking just Japanese whiskey, neat, because it's easy. And, because I'm kind of basic that way. That's all.
Classy.
That's how she rolls.
Yeah.
Staff retreat to Japan.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. When everything is over and we can kind of travel, we'll just do this retreat to Japan.
If there's any donors out there who would like to sponsor a retreat,
Yeah. If anybody wants to sponsor us for our Mu retreat to Japan, that's what we'll do.
do some research. It'll be very official. Well, it kind of works out perfectly that Engtu ended our introductions because tonight's Mu-tini Hour, as Lily mentioned, is titled "Hello, My Name Is," and the whole event was inspired by you, Engtu. When Engtu got hired, it was summer and it was okay to still gather outside and wave at each other from across the yard. So we did a socially distanced meeting with our outgoing managing director, Shannon Fitzgerald, to get to know each other. And I realized halfway through our meeting, Engtu, myself, and Shannon were all saying Engtu's name differently. And I felt very embarrassed. And I stopped us and I just said, hey, I was just wondering, could you clarify like how to say your name? And I don't know if you remember, but you said something to the effect of like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Like whatever you say is fine. And in that moment, I was just like, wow, like it felt like you were being forced to sacrifice your name because there were just too many ways to say it, even though there's technically only one correct way to say it. And it just made me think about, well, does this happen in our larger community? What is that like? What are the stories behind that? So in our very next staff meeting, we went around and we all, one by one, told each other how to correctly pronounce our names. And I've never felt more connected to my coworkers than in that moment. And we all have very different backgrounds, but yet every single one of us had some kind of story about how our names have been mispronounced or misappropriated or just given up completely over the years. So that's why we chose tonight to take back our names, tell our stories, and claim space as Asians in America.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna dive in. It's gonna be a very casual conversation. I'm sure a lot of our Asian audience members out there have had this conversation at some point in their lives. But I guess what's really exciting is this is the first time, I don't know if everybody knows this, but this is the first time in Mu's history where we've had an entirely Asian staff. So we get to show up every single day in our little Zoom boxes and just have a really safe, beautiful space to celebrate Asianness. And I think that's really important. So we're gonna get this question out of the way. It's the question everybody wants us to ask us, and it's always awkward, but what are you? Like, where are you from is how people like to say it, which is not appropriate. What I'd like to know is what is everyone's cultural heritage or background? We can just jump in now.
Well, what am I? I'm a different kind of Chinese. That's what I've said to people before, and it really confuses them.
Start saying that now.
I am ethnically Lao and ethnically Akha. So my dad's side, he's Akha and Lao, and so that's me. And most people don't even know who Lao people are. We're kind of like the more exotic Asians, the more exotic Chinese. I know that's inappropriate, but okay. You know what's inappropriate? Asking me where I'm from.
Oh, where are you really from?
A different part of China.
And then if you don't answer right, know where are your parents from?
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh.
What about other people?
I am ethnically Korean. Both my parents are from Korea. That's me.
Which is great because we have such a we gotta say that you're one of the only Korean like Korean, we have such a large Korean adoptee community, which we love so much that I feel like oftentimes we just assume that like everyone's adopted because we have such a large adoptee community who like we love and support. So I love that it's great that you have that heritage as well in your family.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Chinese ethnically. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles. So when people ask me where I'm from, I say LA. And then they kind of look at me blankly and say, where are you really from? And then I say, do you mean like where are my parents from or what ethnicity am I? So I'm a Chinese ethnically. I'm the daughter of 2 Chinese immigrants who left China during the but during the communist revolution. So my grandfather was a 3-star general fighting with Chiang Kai-shek.
Wow.
And then my dad, so my mom moved around a lot. They were both in southern China. My mom was sort of an army brat and then fled to Hong Kong and Taiwan. And then my father was one of 17 kids in the countryside in China, southern China, Fujian province. He didn't know any of his sisters except for the oldest because they were all like married off at birth. And then he escaped China because one of his brothers was in the Chinese intelligence and got my dad out.
Wow.
So he fled to Taiwan. My parents met in Taiwan. My dad was my mom's tutor. And then they both came to the United States to study in the 50s.
Gosh, I didn't know any of that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I guess I tell the story sometimes, but maybe I haven't into the Mu staff. But yeah, so I'm a general's granddaughter. But I think a lot of Chinese people have that story. So yeah. So that's my background.
I love that. Eng too?
I'm Vietnamese. I was born in Saigon, but my parents are actually both from the north, and their families went to the south when Vietnam was split in half. So yeah, as far as I know, I'm just full 100% Vietnamese.
I'm also Vietnamese, but I have a slightly different story because I'm not full Vietnamese. So my parents are from Vietnam, and like culturally I am Vietnamese American, but my mom technically is half Vietnamese, half white, because my grandma, I describe it as like a Miss Saigon situation. So during the war in Vietnam, during the conflict in Vietnam, white soldiers be getting frisky with the native women, and then all these like half Vietnamese, half white babies are born, and actually a lot of them were just like abandoned because they were like mutts basically, like they had rounder eyes, they had lighter hair, whiter skin, so a lot of them were abandoned. But fortunately my mother was not. Came to America, met my dad, and I was born. So...
I was gonna make a joke about how your grandma was an old school OnlyFans.
Honestly, I don't know the full story, but it might be. Like I think she like did laundry for the soldiers for like money and stuff. So I mean, who knows what the real story was. I haven't asked her. I don't think she would ever disclose her past.
Isn't that so interesting though? Like I didn't know. I'm half Japanese, and my father's 100% Japanese. My mother is very Caucasian, like fearful for her to walk in the sun Caucasian. And I didn't learn anything about my family's history really until my grandfather passed away in 2005. So like I think it's really interesting that most of us have now figured out at least parts of our family's history, because oftentimes I feel like assimilation is real and people don't like to talk about it. But my great grandparents emigrated to the US from Japan, and my grandparents actually met in the Japanese internment camps during World War II. So my grandfather served as a soldier for MacArthur as a translator. And then after the war, they moved to the Midwest and kind of stopped speaking Japanese and started going by English names. So growing up, my mom taught at my elementary school, and my sister and I would come back to school from summer break and be super tan. And everybody would be like, oh, when did you adopt your kids? And my mom would be like, oh, no, 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 no. Their father's Japanese. Like, they're mine. It's very odd. Yeah. Yeah. So weird. But thank you for sharing. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know a lot of our ethnic backgrounds, but
Yeah. John, one of our board members, was just talking about like the first time that we met. And John, when I first moved here, that was like an experience that I had to learn, because there's such a rich Korean adoptee community here that like I felt like it was like doing a disservice if I didn't like announce that I was an adoptee, because there's such a deep connection and like deep relationship between the community. So I like will announce in certain adoptee spaces like, hi, I'm Audrey, I'm not an adoptee, like just to like make sure that they don't feel like I don't know, just feel like I have to do that. I guess Tiffany just started watching the video too. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. We miss you.
Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. Tiffany's our former development director, and we miss her.
All the children running around, probably. Oh,
Right.
she's having a cocktail by herself somewhere. But that's it. Yeah. That's exactly what I was trying to say, Audrey. And you just said it so much more eloquently of saying like, what a cool, beautifully like diverse community we have. And like, I love that our staff is so, there's so many different Asian communities in Minnesota, which is why we exist here as one of the largest Asian companies in the country, definitely the largest in the Midwest. And people just get so surprised. But we have a huge Hmong population, huge Korean adoptee. St. Paul is sister cities with Nagasaki, I'm pretty sure. Like, there's so many interesting connections.
What,
my
really?
father is commenting.
Speaking of family,
There you go.
Wes's father said, hi, Wesley, love you, D.
Mm.
Oh my
So sweet.
gosh.
Well, my dad.
It's not an event without Wes's dad commenting.
All my parents always, they love the social medias.
We love the parents.
Yeah, this might be a great time, actually. Lily had a great idea as we were talking about this, because we have, this is such a common conversation. So we reached out to local artists and national artists that we've worked with over the past year, and we asked them to send in some videos. So we have one from Rick and Joe. It's our first video. We have a few that we're gonna show through the night, but of course, Rick Shiomi is a very familiar face for many. He is the Mu founder. His name has already been called out at least 5 times in this meeting or this hangout sesh, but he's the former artistic director and founder of Mu. And paired with his video is another video by acclaimed actor Joe Go, who recently won an Obie Award for his performance in Lauren Yee's Cambodian rock band. Which of course we were going to produce until pandemic. So hopefully sometime in the future, we'll be able to produce that show. But here is a video from them explaining some history about their names.
Hi, my name is Rick Shiomi, and I'm the co-artistic director of Full Circle Theater Company in the Twin Cities. What's in a name? The name Shiomi has 2 ideograms in it. The first is Shio, which means salt, and the second is Mi, which means to sea. My grandfather on my father's side was born into a farming family in Fukuoka Prefecture in Japan in the 1870s. He was the youngest son in a big family, and his family were friends with a salt-selling family, but the salt-selling family didn't have any children, so they wanted a son to carry on their name. They made a deal with the farming family to have this youngest son, my grandfather, adopted into their family. So he became a Shiomi. This wasn't a particularly happy event for my grandfather, because the story is that he often returned home to his farming family, but had to be walked back by his older sister to the Shiomi family. When he came of age, he registered for the military draft in Japan, and lucky for him, he was less than 5'2", so he was too short for the Japanese army. After that, he decided to leave and move to Yokohama. He lived there for a year and then emigrated to Canada in 1890. The rest of that is history. In any case, I'm hoping myself to write a play about my grandfather, and it would be titled Little Bull. That was his nickname. Thank you.
Hi, friends of Theater Mu. This is the actor Joe No, here to talk about my name today. So my name is Joe No. The Joe part is not unusual. It is short, of course, for Joseph. I am Asian American, so my parents threw on a very English name. Whereas the Ngo part, or the No part, is the easy way I tell people to pronounce my name since I was young. I've always asked people to pronounce my name that way because it's just better than people trying to muddle through it and mess with the sounds until they get it right and embarrass themselves. It is pronounced Go in my language, Dietju, which is a Chinese regional dialect from southeast China. It goes back to the Mandarin way to pronounce the name, which is Wu, which is one of the famous three kingdoms. If you know anything about the romance of the three kingdoms, the southeast kingdom was the kingdom of Wu. It carried itself with my family to Cambodia when my family immigrated there, and probably took on the word or the letter Go in Khmer. And when my family encountered people who spoke English, when they finally made the jump across the oceans to here, it was mistranslated in some ways, or translated as best they could. And it's very likely that because they met so many Vietnamese people who were also escaping a war next door, who had the last name NGO and it sounded alike, they probably put us in the same category. But it's not unlikely that I'm not related to those people, because there's also Teochew Vietnamese people as well. But yeah, that's where the name comes from, Teochew Chinese, Go. So my name is Joe, or Joseph Go.
I love Rick so much. He looks so much like my grandfather. So like every time I see him, he makes me so happy. But Lily,
play. Awesome.
I know, right? I think we should produce that play in a new eyes soon if he ends up writing it.
Yeah,
They both had so much information about their last name. That was so, I was like, how do we research like the exact like formulation of our last names? That was so cool.
As I was editing the videos, I was really trying to like make them as succinct and like fun as possible, but there's just so much information in them that I think is so interesting. I guess some reflections that I wanted to ask everybody about is, I feel like this whole idea of like reclaiming our Asianness is a really common theme, and especially in pronunciations of our names. So I was wondering, like, what is everyone's relationship to having your name pronounced correctly and just kind of being like, well, whatever comes out comes out?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
I know.
Loaded question.
where's my next drink?
Well, I mean,
I always say, as long as you write my name right on that check, I'm cool.
with Mooks, it's like, as long as I can cash that check, I don't care, right?
Okay.
Well, with Vietnamese being a tonal language, it takes a whole new meaning when, you have the running joke of parents saying like, don't take that tone with me, because it's like, well, what am I supposed to say? Because, with a lot of Vietnamese language and words, it's like, what I have run into is that a lot of the tones, when you create Vietnamese words, American English tones are so different than the Vietnamese words. And so a big part of why I have suffered through decades of like, just call me An, is because trying to get American English speakers to say anh thu is like having people say on to like, it's like, and after a while it's like, on is fine. It's just because it's really painful to kind of go through that exercise. And there's the part of the like, I want to claim my name, and then there's the like, it's like, I don't want to spend time listening to you butcher my name. There's well-meaning people at banks and checkout lanes or whatever, and then there's just the like, I want to get out of here because we're breathing in germs and it's a pandemic and I don't want to stand here any longer. So
Wait, Wesley, I'm sorry, Angtu. Wesley's mom just wrote, I'm the white half of Wesley.
Yay! We love that.
I love that.
Claim that
Oh,
identity,
Mama Time
ma'am.
joined in.
Claim that.
Grace Wing Yan Toy said to Wesley, maybe you and Rick Shiomi are blood related.
Maybe.
Whoa.
I did find out I'm related to a 17th century samurai named Mori Motonari. So I got to visit Japan recently for the first time, and I told some people that I was related to Mori Motonari, and my last name is still Mori, and they, oh, big honor. Oh, they called me Mori-san the rest of the time.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um,
Rick's story got me so like teary. Like the idea of his grandfather being given to this other family, it just breaks my heart, and like trying to run back home.
Also, did we just announce his new project? Like, was that?
I don't know. You
Yes,
put it in
Rick.
the video.
Oh,
So I'm
Let's commission it. Let's write it.
I did want to ask, I know like whatever comes out is fine. Mooks, when did you decide to start going by Mooks? Was that because your name is long and Asian, or was there a different reason? Like,
Similar to Angtu, I had a hard time even learning how to write my first name because it's so long, and I also have dyslexia, and so I was Saimukta all the way through, kindergarten to 5th grade, and then in the 6th grade, I had a social studies teacher ask me if I wanted to shorten it to Say to make it easier for my classmates, because everybody at my junior high was like, I guess, dumb. And so that's my opinion. Anyway, so I went along with it. I said, yeah, let's do that. So then junior high, it was Say, and then through high school, it was Say. And then I went to college. I met a Lao spoken word poet. Her name is Katsy. She's out in Philadelphia. And I introduced myself. And at that time, I was also going by Mooks as my spoken word stage name. Because Mooks also means like, a person who's kind of like sketchy and like a thug, right? It's like old timey gangster. Look at that mook over there, that mook, like yeah, copper, like that. So I'm like, I want to be old school gangster. So I went with Mooks. And then she's like, no, what is your Lao name? And I said, it's fine, you don't have to. She's like, no, and she kept pressuring me. And I told her, and she said, it's worth it for you to spend a few seconds to teach people how to say your name, because, your parents took 2 weeks to come up with your name. So just do that. Just tell people your whole name. And so now I do that. I like it. It takes up a lot of space on posters and.
Yeah, it does.
So visually, I'm taking up space, and also in other ways, I'm taking up space, and it feels really good.
Mm-hmm. I was really hoping you were going to say that, because that's like when you told us that in a meeting one day, I thought that was like the coolest. I just thought that was like the best, like practical, your existence as a playwright and like claiming space as your name and saying, yeah, if you're like, first of all, you're a really great playwright. So like if they're going to put you on the billing, but then second of all, it's going to take a lot of space to honor you and like claim your heritage, which I love so much.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna use your whole first, middle, last name and get it all, but I'm gonna say the e-blast that went out this week, I spent a good 20 minutes trying to edit the words around, change the sizing, like try to get your name all in one line, because I didn't want like your last name to be split on a different line.
Oh yeah,
and obviously I should be taking all that time to do that, but I can't imagine all the other marketing people trying and eventually giving up on trying to get your name in there.
I love it.
I also love that you take up that space.
I take up space all the time.
So Mukta, tell everybody what your middle name is, because it's not on your
Oh, it's not? Yep. Mm-hmm. My middle name is Duang Pusai. Should I spell it? It's DUANGPHOUXAY.
I love it. Throw an X in there.
Love the X.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's badass you have an X in here. Like X. And didn't you have a story where it's like one of your teachers when you were young, like spelled Saimukta but didn't do it properly?
That's like all of them.
I'll but gave you the spelling. Did she give you the spelling of your name and it should have been O-O or something?
Yes. So my government name is Saymookda, but then they kept doing Moukda, and so I was like, oh, whatever. That looks good too. So I just do that.
I did not know. Wait, so you're like on all your documentation, it's OO?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
One of those Hollywood like A-list celebrity things to make it harder for people to find me.
Amazing. I had no. I thought it was
changed my name.
I thought it was opposite. I thought that your nickname of Mooks, M-O-O-K, that was the like. Oh, that's so interesting. Gosh, I want to make sure we do get to see all these videos that were sent in. So why don't we pull up Kelly and Jay's video? This one's a bit more funny, but it's just about different ways that people have assumed meanings of names or pronounced them wrong or use them as a joke. But you might recognize Kelly Huang from our production of The Princess Nightingale, which was produced in collaboration with the Stepping Stone Theater. And then we also have Broadway producer and composer Jay Kuo, who was featured on one of our past Mu-tini Hours alongside George Takei and Lea Salonga. So that was our most viewed Mu-tini Hour ever, but now I'm sure this one will. No. So let's hear from Kelly and Jay.
So the way that my name has been mispronounced over the years, it's been the typical like Huang or Huang, but it's Huang, Kelly Huang, and it's also super confusing because my ethnicity is Lao, so I grew up around Lao-speaking aunties and uncles, so they always pronounce it as Huang. But the worst of them all growing up is that when someone used my last name and used it towards a sound to a karate move. For example, Huang.
No.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Stupid, dumb, and really annoying.
Oh God. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Jay Kuo, and my Chinese name is Guo Yichang. And interestingly, Guo Yichang means don't make fun of my name, mother.
That's it. That's all.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm so happy you sent that in. You sent it with a caveat of like, hope this is usable. And I was like, of course it's usable. I mean, but don't you hear all the time like, oh, wow, your name is so exotic, or oh, wow, what does that mean? It must mean something beautiful. Like, it doesn't always.
Right.
I know, Audrey, you have a Korean name, right?
Yeah.
And do you use it like regular, or what was your journey of finding your Korean name?
Well, I was born with my Korean name. So I was born with Audrey, and I was born with Yeojin, which is my Korean name. But like legally, like on all the legal documents, it's Yeojin is put as like my middle name. All the cats right now. And I do use it very frequently. The only thing is like only my family members use it. And I love that so many people are like kind of like reclaiming their names in like all spaces, all aspects of their lives. And I grew up with both constantly. So like Audrey in school, because parents, I mean, they wanted to like make sure you didn't get made fun of or people didn't have a hard time. All the things that we do to acclimate or fit in to like white society. And then just Yeojin at home. And I thought about like the whole like reclaiming too, but I don't know, for some reason, I kind of love, for me, like I love that it's separate because it kind of makes it like really, my Korean name like really special to like me and like my like loved ones that like only they can use it, you know? Like when I'm home, they can only say that to me. They can only call me that. So I don't know, I think I'm still gonna like keep it that way for a while. That's why I still just like, even at the beginning of this, I just introduced myself as Audrey Park. And I realized later, I was like, oh, I didn't even use my full, but yeah, it's only because like, yeah, at home, I'm Yajin. So y'all can know it. I might be like, you gotta be family first before you.
Do you speak Korean fluently or like at all, or?
I'm like beginner's level Korean. I can understand. I can take it in more than I can say it. But I think that's just insecurity and nerve around using it.
Sure.
So great.
Does everybody? What is everybody else? Is anybody else bilingual, or like what's everybody's levels of their trilingual? Does everybody else kind of? I mean, you're fluent, aren't you, Mooks?
I speak Lao, Thai, and English.
Okay. And then is everybody else kind of like I can get by, or does anybody else speak it like full on, speak their native language?
I can get by on Thai, but I'm fluent in Lao. Okay. I can get by in English too.
I was told as like a little kid I was fluent in Vietnamese, just because I'm sure that was like one of the first languages that, I mean, it probably was the first language I spoke because that's what my parents and family spoke to me. But you know, you go to school, and what Engti was saying, it's tonally, it's so different. It's like it's almost impossible. And so like every day, like, you know, I lose that muscle memory, and so I so can't speak it unless I'm with my grandma. Then I try really hard. But other than that, it's so weird because my parents will speak Vietnamese to me and I will speak English back to them, and it's that weird.
Yeah.
Somehow we all understand each other.
With my mom.
Yeah.
When my dad was alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Lily, were you fluent in Chinese? Did you used to be fluent in Chinese and lost it, or was it kind of
maybe? I mean, maybe from below the age of 5. But I think once I started school early. I skipped kindergarten. I always tell people I was really good at finger painting, but really I just have really like over ambitious Chinese parents. So I started school when I was 5, but I probably below 5 I could speak Chinese fluently. I'm conversationally fluent in Chinese, but not like I couldn't like teach a class or like take a class, like take a college level class in Chinese probably. But I'm the same way, like my mom and dad sometimes will speak to me, or growing up, they would speak to me in Chinese and I would answer in English. And so I understand more than I can speak, but I lived in China for about 8 years as an adult, and I was a foreign correspondent there, and then say anything about that. So you'll find out about later. So I was a foreign correspondent there. And so during my time, and I was also a student learning Chinese language. So after that time, I spoke better Chinese. Yeah.
I don't speak any Japanese. So going to Japan was really interesting for me because I was sitting on a bench waiting for a ferry to go across a river to go to Harry Potter World at Universal Orlando's Osaka. And it was the coolest. It was so cool because they did bilingual performances. So they did like wand duels, half in Japanese, half in English. It's really cool. But this couple walked up to me with this fluffy dog and just started speaking Japanese to me. And I just had to say, I'm so sorry, I don't understand. And I was actually at a Mu event once years ago. I was a teaching artist with one of our education programs, and a gentleman who was not associated with Mu that was coming to the final like presentation of the performance found me in the hallway and just said, "Oh, are you Japanese?" And I was like, yes. It was like 7 a.m. So I was not ready for any type of conversation that started, "Are you Japanese?" from a white man. But, I said yes. Then he just started speaking Japanese at me again. And I just said, "Oh, no. Sorry, I don't speak Japanese." And he said, "Why not?" And I was like,
I hate that.
Again, it's 7 a.m. Well, my grandparents were in the internment camp, so I don't speak Japanese. It's the long and short of it. And he said, "Oh, you should." You should. I don't know why you don't. Let me tell you all about Japanese culture.
No.
He had married, yes, he was in war and he had married a Japanese woman, and he just loved Japanese culture, and he started to inform me about what I was supposed to be. And what I've always said is I feel like kind of a tourist to my own culture, because my grandmother ended up having dementia at the end of her life. She passed away recently as well. And I remember my dad interviewed her one day for a project he was doing for his master's degree. And he ended up getting my grandma and her sister talking to each other. And she ended up being lucid for a moment, and they just were saying, it could happen again. It could happen again. And they were talking about the camps. So it was such a defining moment. And they talk about generational trauma. And like, that's so apparent in my life, which it's been really cathartic and beautiful for me to be involved with Mu as an actor first. And now as a staff member, I honestly, like, I'm so thankful for it every single day, because being surrounded by Asian people is something that I never got growing up. So I'm really, really thankful. I mean it when I say you all are so special to me. So it's why I pushed for us to do this event, because I just wanted to screen together. Well, we have 2 more videos to share, so I want to make sure we get another one in. We can pull up Katie and Jessica's video. Katie Haleo has worked with Mu in many different ways. She has been an actress with us. She's a playwright, and most recently she became a Mu board member. So that's really exciting. And then Jessica Huang is a playwright as well, and she wrote Purple Cloud, which had its world premiere as part of Mu's 2015-2016 season. And it's exciting because she is currently working on a newly commissioned musical for an upcoming Mu presentation. So you can look forward to that. So let's hear from Katie and Jessica.
Hi, I'm Katie Haleo. And the Katie comes from my parents. They both have an Irish American background. My mom's maiden name was Kelly. My dad's mother's maiden name was Francis. He always thought he was Irish American. He loves thinking of himself as an Irish American. He went to St. Thomas Academy here in Minneapolis, and then went to Notre Dame. So I grew up with like the fighting Irish leprechaun all around our house. He was really into St. Patrick's Day. And the funny thing is, years later, when they were able to go back to Europe and do some genealogy searching, my dad found out that actually his last name is Leo, of Leo was German. So, his whole identity was shattered. And then my mom, of course, had to make fun of him and called him Air Leo for a long time. So that's where the Leo comes from. Then the Hey is really the interesting part of my name. I only started using it, a couple of years ago. It took me a long time, I think, to figure out what configuration of my name I wanted to use. Partly it was a reflection of my identity as a Korean adoptee and trying to kind of figure out how I wanted to think of myself and how I wanted to present myself to the world. Also, because on my original birth certificate that was assigned to me by Holt Agency in Korea, the name that was assigned to me was Bu He Ryeon. I think that was just created by the agency. I don't think it's actually has any connection to my actual family, my biological family. It's just a hard name. It's a hard name for me to wrap my American tongue around. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly because I've heard native Korean speakers pronounce it. It's a beautiful name. And I would like nothing more to be able to just use that. But I always thought, if I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, there's just no way that I could be able to then explain how to pronounce it to, your typical American or people that I'm working with. But I really did, in the past few years, decide I wanted to keep some element of that, which is why I started going by Katie Haleo. It's been kind of a hard transition, I think, for some folks, just because for a long time I just went by Katie Leo. But keeping the Hey was just part of me trying to claim some part of my Korean identity within my name. I think a lot of Americans make it harder than it necessarily needs to be and kind of overthink it. Some people say Katie Ha Leo or Hi Leo, and I always just say, it's like just Hey, like hey, that sort of Hey. So Katie Haleo.
Hi, folks. Jessica Huang here. Happy to share the story of my Asian name. Huang was not a very common last name in Chanhassen, Minnesota, where I grew up. And I have so many memories of being called over the loudspeaker, Jessica Hung, Jessica Hang, Jessica Huang, and never, just never anything but my name. But I'm so proud to be Huang because my grandfather, Jay Huang, immigrated to this country when he was 13, and he wanted at the time to change his name because he was getting bullied so mercilessly. But his mother, my great-grandma Blanche, reminded him that Huang is the name of Tsifang Huang, his father, my great-grandfather, and we do honor to him by being proud of this name that we share. So I'm so proud to be a part of this family and a part of Tsifang's lineage, and my grandfather Jay's lineage, and my dad Jay Huang's lineage, and all the many Huangs around the world. I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy. Lots of love from New York to you.
I have honestly loved making these videos because we had such like a random array of people from all over the country, people that I've worked with Mu a lot, people that have only worked with Mu a few times, and like everybody had such interesting, beautiful stories, and they're so endearing. We just have a little bit of time left in the conversation part of the night, so I just wanted to ask, does anybody have any weird pronunciations of their name that they've gotten, or maybe were they bullied about their name, or are there any like kind of stories like that?
Do you mean anybody who was not bullied about their name?
Well, my name is mispronounced, and I guess it's always been mispronounced, and I'm kind of inspired by some of you who is like Angtu and Katie, who have claimed the proper pronunciation, or their, you know, their Asian names. So my name, you know, my maiden name is Tung, T-U-N-G, but it's actually pronounced Tong in Chinese. So my Chinese name is Tong Mei Li, because in Chinese they put the last name first, like in many Asian cultures. And so the accurate way to pronounce my name is Tong. And when my parents came to the United States, they were using the Whale Jail system in the 1950s, and the spelling of my parents' name was T-U-N-G. And so we've always been the Tongues. And if they had come to the United States like now, then most people use the Pinyin romanization system, and it would be spelled T-O-N-G, which is a little bit more accurate. But as you can imagine, to have your last name sound like the thing in your mouth, the organ in your mouth, is a lifetime of teasing. And so in high school especially, there were a few of my friends, mostly all white, I would say, who would like see me in the hallway and go, "Hi, Lily." Whoa. And that was how they addressed me. And it was like, at that time, it was kind of like cute, and like, I knew it was a teasing thing, so I didn't really care. But now looking back, I'm like, well, it was a little bit traumatic. I also think like I've never liked my last name, and I think that's one reason why, is because, you know, it's if you grow up with a lot of teasing with your name, then you tend not to like it. So yeah, so I thought about today. I was thinking about it. I was getting ready for the Mu-tini Hour. Like, should I change it to Tong, like Lily Tong Crystal? Like, would that be weird? Like, would people, you know, get it? But I mean, I'm thinking about it. I mean, no one else in my family does that. Like, we all go by Tong. So, but yeah, my name for my whole life has been mispronounced.
You are a national treasure now, Lily. Don't change your name and claim space. You can do it.
I'm a national treasure. I don't think I'm a national treasure, but thank you for saying that.
You are a local treasure.
Local. Well, thank you for saying that. I'm not even sure about that, but I appreciate that. I will accept that. Thank you. But I think, you know, the funny thing is, when I went back to my dad's village, it's called Hongfang, which means the land of the tongues. So the village is actually name. I mean, it's
Oh.
like where all my ancestors are, and everyone with my last name is there. So
That's where our post-pandemic retreat is going to go.
you know, I don't know if you want to go there for
I think that like weirdness that you feel, Lily, like reclaiming your name, I feel like that weirdness only resides within you, because I have just recently like reclaimed the correct pronunciation of my last name. Ever since like school, like preschool, like people would just be like, oh, Kevin Duong, and I would just passively be like, yeah, sure. Because it's like, what, like what's the point of correcting people? And it just got so far along that I like internalized Duong as like the correct way to pronounce my name. I remember one time when I was young, I got separated from my grandma at the grocery store, and I heard over the intercom Kevin Jung, which is the correct pronunciation, like come to the front desk. And my brother and I kind of laughed because we were like, oh my God, he like almost has the same last name as me. And it's like, no, wait, that is my last name. So it was just like, I went, like my whole life basically as Duong. And then it wasn't until I graduated from college. On graduation day, the professor that was reading the names was my advisor. So and he knew the correct pronunciation of my last name. And so I was like, hey, could you pronounce it? Could you make sure to pronounce it this way when you announce my name? And so when I went up to get my diploma, he was like, Kevin Jung, and everybody in the crowd kind of was like, what is going on? What is this? And so I reclaimed my name, and it still to this day sounds weird because I lived my whole life just saying it was Duong, and sometimes I have to catch myself and pronounce it correctly. And oftentimes when I introduce myself, I only say my first name, just because it just doesn't like, it's still weird. And Wes, you asked me like, or you asked like if you ever got bullied for your name. And okay, this is about to get really sad, but I feel like I was the biggest bully of my last name because Duong just doesn't sound like the letters D-U-O-N-G like don't like look cool. They don't sound cool. Like a D and a G, it's just like, ugh, like what for? And so it just like doesn't sound pretty. But anyways, Jung, the D in Vietnamese language is pronounced like Y. So
yay, Kevin. Oh, that makes me sad, but also like how cool. And also like I can't say enough positive things about Kevin. He will be my desk buddy once we're back in the office because we sit across from each other, but we are of course working remotely right now. But Kevin is such a rock star on the Mu staff, and he really keeps the ship going, and he has done so much extra work during this pandemic. So like to know that your name is getting out there as well as like our communications marketing director, I think it's so great that you were able to like reclaim your name before your rise to stardom. But
I'm learning how to accept compliments, so I'm just gonna say thank you and cheers to everybody else on staff.
Cheers to everybody. This is a good. I did not cheers at the top of the show. So if you're drinking a drink at home, or if you're on your second, great, get a third. That's awesome. Pandemic. What do you have to do tomorrow? Nothing. Cheers to all of you. Here's to claiming space, claiming our names. Learning to not be ashamed of who we are as amazing Asian individuals, and also to the allies out there that honor our names. So cheers.
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 Also, hi, Katie Kaving.
Oh yeah, so many fun people watching. Well, we have one final video that was shared. I saved this one for last because I think it really just beautifully culminates everything we've been talking about. It comes from Lapika Shah. It's a name poem. She was most recently featured in our 24th Hour Playfest in a play that was written by our own Semukta. But Lapika's poem was originally created for Ana Sofia Villanueva's video collaboration, which was called Honor Their Names, which was part of the project of Mixed Blood Responds with Mixed Blood Theater, who we love here in town. And I just think it's a really beautiful kind of ending to this part of our night, but stick around because there's some fun things that you can participate in at home right after this.
Games.
My name is Lupika. Should be that simple. You ask my name and I answer. My name is Lupika. I promise it's not Lipika, Lipika, or as every public school teacher said during roll call on the first day of school, ooh. They didn't even try. 5 minutes after you ask my name and I answer, you inevitably insist on saying it differently because it's just too hard, too exotic, too strange for your tongue. And somehow it's my fault that my name is so unique, so beautiful, and thus so difficult to remember how to say. To say. So I've tried to make it easier. My name is Lupika. Like Lupika from Topeka? My name is Lupika. Sure, yeah, pick a nickname if that's easier. My name is Lupika. Yeah, it's not spelled the way it's pronounced, sorry. You know, for a long time I actually was sorry. I was embarrassed to have such a different name. It made it so easy to mark me as other, so difficult to feel like I belonged, so scared to correct everyone who got it wrong. I was ashamed. I hated my name. It took me a long time to love it. My name is Lupika. I'm named after a book of poetry by one of the great Bengali poets, Rabindranath Tagore. He was my grandfather's favorite. I'm aware that I spell my name differently from how it's spelled in the English translations, and I am aware that I pronounce my name like the American I am, despite all your efforts to make me feel otherwise. This is the name my parents gave me. Technically, my grandfather gave it to me. His love of the Bengali language was so vast and so deep that he wanted to make sure that his first grandchild always remembered her roots. He wanted her to know that she was special. So, my name is worth remembering because my name is part of my identity. And I think I'm worth remembering. So next time, when you ask my name and I answer, can we just let it be this simple? Hi, my name is Lupika.
It's beautiful,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
I've watched it so many times. So to end this part of the night, I just want us all to go around and say our names correctly, and just claim that space, say this is who we are, and have no apologies about it. So we'll just feel the moment. So my name is Wesley Morey.
My name is Saimukdadong Pusai Bongsai, or Mooks.
My name is Kevin Yung.
My name is Audrey Park, or if you're family, Pak Yojin.
My name is Famti Angtu.
My name is Lily Tung Crystal, and in Chinese, it's Tong Mei Li.
Yay!
Oh my god, I'm so
Oh
bawling.
Honestly, to everyone out there, we were going back and forth on whether or not to do this event. We've done so many events throughout the year, and there are 6 of us. This is our staff, and I'm really proud of the work we've done, and it's been a really hard year for all of us. And with old staff members, new staff members, it's really been about coming together and truly giving voice to the underrepresented. So we as Asian Americans are part of that. We stand with other BIPOC communities, and we will continue to do the work that Mu's always done. But we thank you all so much for joining us as we've been doing this. But we're gonna have fun now because this is technically our office party and we've invited you all along. So I have sent or delivered gifts to all the staff members. So if you will please open your gifts. Now, I have to be honest, my mother's side, the thing I did inherit from that side was intense taping of Christmas presents. So just rip into them. I know they are taped shut, but you should have a few things in there. So open those up. And then we're going to play just a few quick games that you can participate in at home and we'll be done quickly. So join us for the game. So you should have in your boxes, you should have Hi-Chews, which are my favorite Japanese chew candy. You should have Pocky Sticks, which I don't even know if that's how you're supposed to say them, but that's how I've always said it. Strawberry Pocky Sticks. You should have Hello Panda chocolate cookies.
These are the best.
I know, so good. You should have a bottle of sake, of course.
Hell yeah.
And then my thing that I'm most excited about, you should have a custom-made Theater Mu mask.
I'm so excited about this. I've been wanting one for ages.
Oh my God, if you had money, I would give you guys raises.
I commissioned my friend Annie Schilling, who runs her company called Studio Cirque. You can find her on Instagram. It's Studio CYRK. And she made these for us. I don't know if you'll still be able to hear me. I'll talk loudly. So these are specialty Mu staff masks, but Kevin and I have been talking with Eng2 about budgeting, and we are going to try to roll out some merchandising for Mu next year. So if you're interested in that, be on the lookout. But these are our masks. So those are personal gifts from me. Merry holiday, Christmas. I know everybody doesn't celebrate Christmas, so just this is my appreciation of love towards you all.
New Year's is coming. It's okay.
They're so soft.
Aren't they great? Handmade.
They're amazing.
Got our mascot on there.
These will make cute bandos.
Thank you. Perfect gift.
Okay, so
I'm a little big for this.
I love Momu, and I love being able to wear Momu.
Momu's the best.
Momu's our mascot.
We all love Momu. They use they, them pronouns.
Back here.
Oh, there they are. Okay, so the last thing you should have, you should have a paddle, we're gonna call it. So my mother is a second grade teacher. I used all the skills I learned. So these are what you're going to use to buzz in to answer questions, and we're gonna use them for different activities. So first up, we're gonna do a guessing game with our audience. So I have asked all of the staff members to give me an interesting or weird fact about themselves. So what I want is everybody to hold up your paddle up so everybody can see it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read off an interesting fact, and I'm gonna do a countdown, and everybody in the chat has to type in who they think the interesting fact belongs to. And when I hit 0, everybody will put down their paddle except for the person it belongs to. Make sense? So everybody hold up their thing, and then when I hit 0, you will put the paddle down unless the fact is about you. And everybody at home can guess who they think. So paddles up, here we go. Fun fact number 1, I was a cheerleader in high school. So comment who you think was a cheerleader in high school. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reveal. So put it down if that is not you.
What if it was awesome?
Well, that was
share notes.
so that was supposed to be Eng2's fact. So you were both cheerleaders in high school? Do you have pictures?
Oh my gosh.
Eng2, do you remember any cheers?
Well, there's defense.
Hit it. 5, 6, 7, 8.
DEFENSE. Defense.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. I would never have guessed that you were a cheerleader.
I was a horrible cheerleader.
You seem so like cool girl. Like I feel like you would hate like the cheerleader.
I was also an Amnesty International.
Oh.
I always pictured you as emo.
Yeah.
I still am.
Emo cheerleader?
Was like hot. My when I was in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
not a very good cheerleader.
that's okay. You are a great managing director. Okay, so paddles up, everybody. Here's fun fact number 2. I have a white belt in karate. I have a white belt in karate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reveal. Lily's so sly about it. Evan.
Esme.
Hello.
Yeah, so if anybody knows anything about karate, it's white belt is the belt that you start off with. And I so vividly remember this day, and honestly, it kind of haunts me to this day. I signed up for karate as like a little child, probably in the 6, 7, or 8-year-old range time period of time. And I remember doing the moves, and I remember the instructor telling us what to do, and I remember not wanting to do it. And I remember a family member had to come up and like hold the board, like I don't know, or whatever, and then me not really wanting to do it, and then my uncle was like, just do it, and I said I don't want to, and then I started crying. And then I went to go sit down and I never came back. And I was actually started karate with my childhood best friend. And so he eventually got his black belt and I had my white belt. And so I am proud of my white belt. I'm proud of trying, but I so clearly, I guess, have like authority issues or something. I don't know.
Oh
I did not want to be told what to do. And that's probably why I never joined a sport.
What's after white belt, Kevin?
What's after white belt? I don't even know.
I think it's yellow.
Yellow.
So it's good that you didn't get the yellow belt.
It's literally, you know, in Hamilton, when Hamilton says like, even though we started at the very same time, Alexander Hamilton began to climb, that brings me back to this memory of being in karate and watching Raja Tran. I know you're not watching, but for some reason, if you're watching, he eventually began to climb and got his black belt. So anyway, it's a traumatic lyric. In
So
that
good. Okay.
Oh my God. John G says Corey is basically incapacitated right now.
How is the bunny doing?
Oh, sending love to John, Corey, Bunny, and Katie.
Bunnies, cats. Also, some of the guesses for the white belt, Teresa thought it was Lily. Kurt thought it was me. Several people thought it was Mooks, which I like.
Our athlete in high school, so makes sense.
I have firm belief that if Mook started karate, she would go all the way.
All the way.
I'm
All
great.
right. Fun fact number 3. Paddles up, please. I competed in multiple regional spelling bees. I competed in multiple regional spelling bees. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Whoa.
It was me. I don't have a paddle.
Paddle.
It took me so long to make those, you guys. I made them at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I pulled a Lily and I worked at 2 a.m. and I made those. I did not make one for myself. But I competed in multiple spelling bees growing up. I thought it was so cool. But the first ever one I went to was in 2nd grade. And I said my mother was a teacher in 2nd grade. So I like had all this pressure to do really well. And I stood up. How old was you in 2nd grade? 7. And my first word, the woman had this very thick Southern accent. She said, "Burra, the burra goes underground with the mina." And I was like, okay. So I heard the words burrow and underground. So I spelled B-U-R-R-O-W. And she was like, no, it's B-U-R-R-O. The miner took the burra underground. I truly went into the corner, took off my glasses, and cried. I just flat out like, I was so upset. Burrow. So donkeys to this day traumatize me. Not really. But I did go back and compete again, and I got 2nd place in the regional spelling bee. I have the trophy in a box somewhere.
Wow. Spelling, I could never.
I was going to say, now we know why Wesley is a pretty good proofreader of our marketing material.
All right.
Wes is always the first person to proofread all of Kevin's marketing stuff.
I love it.
That's a great story, Wes, about the southern accent. That's
That's a whole scene in a one-man play.
There you go. All right, number 4. Paddles up, please. How dare this person make me read this? I have 4 nipples, and my birthday might not be December 24th. I have 4 nipples, and my birthday might not be December 24th. 5.
For the record, Kurt is just voting Audrey every single time.
2, 1, reveal. You'll never guess who this one was. What was that?
My theory is that I ate my twin in my mother's womb.
Oh.
You actually have 4 nipples? I thought you were joking.
No, it's real.
You asked for facts.
I'll show you.
No.
Okay.
We'll get kicked off Facebook.
No, like it's here, and there's one here, and there's one here.
Wait, so if you show them, does that count as nudity?
If I
nipple movement.
It ended so quickly.
The producer is like freaking out right now, which is Wes. He's like, no, don't show them on.
And I always thought it was like just a mole or something, but when I was breastfeeding Rasan, like it was like milk was coming out of it.
Really?
Whoa!
Oh my God! You're kidding, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
That would be nudity.
When I get the Bush Fellowship, I'm gonna have plastic surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, interesting.
And get them removed and put them somewhere else.
Wow. Have you done like research on like secondary or auxiliary nipples?
No, I don't want to traumatize myself.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's probably good.
There's this whole thing going around social media about people going to get plastic surgery today.
Oh, yeah.
Today?
Like this date?
December 11th?
On my social media feed, people were talking about getting plastic surgery today. Oh, that mooks, right?
Why not? Do it. Yeah.
All I know is that Corey, if she was
incapacitated.
Are you incapacitated?
Mouth is really dry from these koala bears.
We have 2 more. We have more things to get through. Here we go. Number 5. Paddles up, please. I was in my band's color guard for a summer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reveal. Oh my gosh.
Really, you are so sneaky. Why are you doing that?
I know, it tricks me every time, and I know the answers.
Audrey, could you use your paddle maybe and show us some like color guard moves? Or
wait, I'm sorry. What does that mean? A color guard in the band?
Color guard is like the people who like toss the flags in the air.
It's cool.
We're gonna put it in a show.
Sure, yeah. It's
and
cool.
you can be the color guard captain.
For the record, like I didn't want to be in color guard. My friend convinced me to like join the training over the summer. I think she had a crush on one of the drummers, because the drummers are the coolest ones in band.
Obviously.
Sure.
So I joined it for the summer. At the end of the summer, there was a march that we did for the neighborhood, and then after that I was like, yeah, I'm done, I can't do it.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, do you still have like moves, or do you not?
I don't know.
Wow, a lot of people thought it was me. Not me.
Okay.
Get a flag and find out.
For those who have been paying attention, you're gonna get this last one, but everybody paddles up. This is the last fun fact. I fronted a few rock and blues bands in my 20s. I fronted a few rock and blues bands in my 20s. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ba, 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 ba. Who was it? You'll never guess. Oh my gosh. So dramatic. Lily Tongue Crystal Rock Goddess.
Obviously, the coolest person on our staff was in a rock band.
How long, how many bands were you in? Did you tour? What did you do?
No, well, not really. So I was in an a cappella singing group in college, but while I was in college, I also was in a couple rock bands, and we just played at like the college bars. And if I went to school in Cornell, so we played in a couple, we played in some of the college town bars. And then when I moved to Shanghai, I did that right after I graduated. I sang in a couple rock and blues bands in Shanghai.
Gosh.
Over the course of like 8 years or so. I actually came through to theater from singing. I was a singer first and then started acting.
Did you sing in Chinese or English in Shanghai?
In English. Well, there were a couple. There was like the Cotton Club, which was like a blues bar, and there was like the Hard Rock Cafe, which wasn't the real Hard Rock Cafe. It was like the fake Hard Rock Cafe. And so there were some bars that had rock and blues bands, but most of them would sing in English. I mean, sometimes they would do a Chinese song here or there, but we primarily did like American and British songs.
Cool. Okay, well, you have all learned a little bit more, maybe too much, about our staff. We were going to do 3 activities, but I'm keeping an eye on the time. I think we're just going to do one more. So we have one more special guest. So our special guest, after this activity, we're going to bring you on a little teaser to keep people invested. So this next game, I'm calling the name game. So you're gonna need your paddles again.
Cool.
And this is a game I play. I worked on a cruise ship for 2 years, and this is a game we play every week with the guests on the cruise ship. So what we would do is we would come up with synonym titles to popular songs. So for instance, instead of saying tiny dancer, I would say mini ballerina. And they would have to guess that instead of mini ballerina, I was talking about tiny dancer. So synonyms are words that mean the same, but are different words. Yeah. So, but because this is a Mu night, instead of songs, we're going to do plays that Mu has produced. Shows, plays, musicals that Mu has produced. Okay. And so for instance, if I was to say fuchsia nimbus, that would be Purple Cloud, exactly. Okay.
Like Jessica Huang.
Like by our beloved Jessica Huang. So I have 8 plays or shows or musicals that we have produced, and I'm going to give you the synonym titles. Everybody's going to put their paddles down. You can guess along at home in the chat, but you're going to raise your paddle. First person to raise their paddle gets to guess. Okay. Here we go. Number 1 synonym title is Golden Temperature. Kevin, already. Golden temperature is
Yellow Fever.
Yellow Fever by Rick Shiomi, of course.
Hell
Golden
yeah.
temperature is Yellow Fever. Okay, number 2. Here we go. Kevin has 1 point. Balmy Byzantine Surgeon Spouse. Balmy. Ooh, I think Kevin had it with Audrey a close second.
I had it.
Wait, it's gonna start a fight in the staff.
Yeah. Should okay.
Do you want to pick? You can defer to somebody else if you want to give someone else the point.
Should I defer? I feel like okay, so I feel like I'm going to get it every time. Just because as the marketing and communications director, I do frequent thesaurus.com often. Like I love synonyms. So, you know, everybody takes on a challenge through different perspectives. And I think, my perspective is the best. So I think I'm going to defer to Lily. I'll defer to Lily.
Hey, Lily, balmy Byzantine surgeon spouse.
Hot Asian doctor husband.
Hot Asian doctor husband. By, of course, Leah Nanako Winkler. Okay, well, we're going to keep going. Kevin, do you have any shots? Maybe you should take a shot and that'll give you like a hand, it'll make you a little more delayed.
Too drunk for this game, and I'm like, we're just drunk enough.
Yeah.
I don't have a shot, but I can chug this prosecco.
No, I like
It was
the challenge. I
it
like
was
the challenge of all
it
of
was
us.
a really good idea until I realized I'm a professional, but I can still do it.
Okay, here we go. Number
I'll
three.
vote against Kevin.
Number three is unrivaled. Unrivaled. Lily Tongue Crystal.
I can let Simukta go since I did one.
No, don't
There's
do
a
me.
delay, Mooks. Do you have a
Yeah.
delay on your internet?
Yes.
Okay, Mooks, you go. Mooks, take it. Unrivaled.
Fearless.
Peerless by Ji-Hae Park, and of course directed by our very own Lily Tongue Crystal. Unrivaled is Peerless. Okay, this one. This might not be problem. Okay, here we go. Number 4. Problematic opera. Lily.
Mikado?
The Mikado.
Wow.
You soon? It's fine.
I was
We
just
actually
talking
did-
about that today.
I know. We produced the Mikado and we did a new version where we helped take out some of the racist language and Orientalism that existed in it. So Mu did produce the show, but we did a different version of it. If you don't understand why the Mikado is a problematic play, Google is your best friend. Okay, so number 5.
Okay, or they can message us on Facebook or send an email to info@theatermoon.org and we would be happy to have a discussion.
Great, there we go.
Kevin would be happy.
Okay, number 5. Number 5 of 8. Tulip Taiko Tune. Tulip Taiko Tune. Kevin.
Flower drum song.
Flower Drum Song, Tulip Taiko Tune by David Henry Huang and Rodgers and Hammerstein. We produced that show twice, I think.
2009 and 2013.
Yes, I love that show because we do the updated version of it. All right.
Okay, this game is fun. I like this game.
I'm telling you.
We could do this all night long, y'all.
Well, it's 8:28. So there's 3 more and then we're gonna wrap it up. Here we go. Okay, number 6. Modern Peepers Jamboree. Modern Peepers Jamboree. Lily.
New Eyes Festival.
New Eyes Festival.
Whoa.
Modern Peepers Jamboree. Lily, are we doing a New Eyes Festival this year?
We are. How convenient.
Snap. I get it.
We are doing a New Eyes Festival probably in May. And it will probably be virtual unless like we have a magic vaccine that does away with the pandemic by then. But there's some great plays about revolution and protest that we are doing. And also we're doing a workshop of Jessica Huang's new musical about the Kim Lu sisters, who were a group of sisters that came out around the time of the Andrews Sisters. They were a cabaret act and they were on the cabaret circuit in like the 1930s. And they were half Chinese, half white.
Thing. So cool. So get ready for that, folks. All right, 2 more. Number 7, The Dozenth Evening. The Dozenth. I'm going to give it to Audrey.
I'm not even trying. Come on, everybody.
12th Night.
12th Night. 12th Night, of course, by William Shakespeare. And Audrey, were you in our production of 12th Night? Who did you play?
It's like you planned this. Yes. I think that was like one of my first productions with Moon. That was a fun show.
Really?
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know.
I don't know why I thought you were part of Move for like 1,000 years.
Because I'm old, Kevin.
Gosh. Okay. Well,
Everyone's old compared to me.
Okay. Last
Hold on. Can we turn off his video?
Yeah, mute him. He's the host. So you can't.
spiraling now. We gotta keep
Audrey played Duke Orsino in 12th Night, and I loved your hair so much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, do we have a picture?
But I did not have the technical capabilities to do that right now because there's a lot of things going on for tonight. Okay, this is the last one. Number 8. Are you ready? Let me see if I can say this. Okay. Martial artist corpses against anthropophagites. Engtu Pham. I'm going with Engtu.
Oh my God, Kung Fu Zombie.
Kung Fu Zombies. Do you remember the second part?
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
I have had too much whiskey. I don't normally drink this much. Kung Fu Zombie versus, oh my God.
Maybe this horse can. finish it.
Vampire.
What are you saying?
I drink too much whiskey. I don't normally drink this much.
Ain't you're fired.
Wait, but before you go, will you pay us more? I know we have board members watching, but like you know.
No, okay.
Now Mooks is drinking from the bottle.
Classy. Martial artist corpses against anthropophagites, of course, is Kung Fu zombies versus cannibals.
Audrey wanted to complete it.
There we go. Nice.
I'm a lightweight, y'all. I don't drink this much.
It's okay. But Mooks, I heard rumor, are you possibly working on something related to that show?
Yes, I'm finishing up part 2.
Ooh, so exciting. So hopefully we'll have a sequel to Martial Artist Corpses. No, to Kung Fu Zombies.
Actually, a prequel.
Oh, prequel, yes. Sorry, a prequel.
Oh, snap.
Part 2. Okay, so everybody is obviously too drunk for the next activity anyway. Too tipsy, I'm sorry. So I'm glad we're going to skip it. But we just have one more major event for tonight. We are really excited because, as I mentioned, we've been a staff of 6. But this week, we actually hired our newest Mu Squad member. So everybody, please help me welcome Jane Pena, our new office manager.
Woo! Yes, Jane!
My gosh. Okay. Well, we are so glad you're here. Hello, Jane.
Hi.
Welcome to the chaos. I planned on making this like a very beautiful, like, welcome to the family. And I guess this is kind of a good example of that. But
very fitting.
I would love for our audience members to learn a bit more about you. So what were you doing before you joined Mu?
Yeah, well, I graduated from college in 2019. I'm very new to the whole professional world. I have had a string of internships, and my last internship was in Chicago with the Goodman Theater. And everything, I was there for about 2 months before everything kind of shut down. The world sort of ended, and all my plans were kind of thrown into the trash, had to choose, think of things again. So when that internship ended in June, and also my lease was up in Chicago, I moved back home to Minneapolis, where I was born and raised here, spent most of my life here. And for the last several months, I've kind of just been here doing odd jobs, thinking about what am I going to do next? I have no idea. And this job opening came up, which I actually applied to in March. I've been an admirer of Mu for such a long time. And when this opportunity came along, I was so excited. And so it's really just such a great opportunity, a really true dream come true. So I feel like I'm finally here after a lot of years of wanting to be here. So yeah, I'm just super excited. To be office manager.
So we are so excited to have you as our new office manager, even though we are working remotely. We are still so happy to have you. But of course, in the theme of the night, I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit about your family's background and the significance that your name has in your life?
Definitely, yeah. So my mom is white, and then my dad is half Mexican and half Japanese, which gives me a really strange relationship to my racial and cultural heritage. I feel like the way I was brought up, and then the things I started researching for myself as I got older, the way I look and my name are all in conflict with each other. So I'm constantly trying to find my community, find where I fit in. I feel like the person that I am and the way I'm perceived changes depending on what room I'm in and depending on what people I'm talking to. So that's something I'm still trying to figure out. But I've always been Jane Pena, has always been my name. And Pena is a very common name in most Spanish-speaking countries. But here there are some problems, especially here in Minnesota. Computers here have such problems with that enye. I've had systems crash. I've had emails and things returned to me with like long strings of code where they just do not know what to do with it. I was a writing tutor in college, and every time somebody would book an appointment with me, it would say they had booked an appointment with Jane, P-E, lots and lots of weird symbols, A. And so I have to hesitate every single time I write it down. And every time I write it down, I have to make a choice of, am I going to write it down with the enye or am I going to write PENA? And I always have to choose. And it's strange because both words exist, peña and pena exist in Spanish, and but they mean very different things. I don't speak Spanish, but in my research and just kind of what I've looked up, peña either means the family came from like a rocky area, hilly area, or togetherness, a group of people. Whereas pena means shame, discontent, kind of if someone's having a bad day, you say que pena, that sucks. And that's not what my name is. I've had experiences where I've handed my ID to someone and my ID says pena, it does not have the enya on it. Where I've handed it to someone and they recognize it and they look at it and then they look at me and say, is that your name? You know what that means, right? And I do know what that means, and it's also not my name, but that's what's written down. So I've had these experiences of, I don't really know what to say to people, when I should write it down correctly versus when I shouldn't. Yeah, it's been, yeah, that's kind of the whole way of how I've dealt with it.
Yeah. Well, we're honestly so happy to have you. I've only gotten to meet you once and wave at you from across the room, but you told me that story in the office, and like, you have such a place here, and I think your story is so unique and interesting and something that hasn't been a part of our staff. So we're just so happy to have you. And then lastly, do you have an interesting or weird fact you'd like to share with us?
I do. I put it down on the little submission.
Wait, before you tell us, can we guess it?
You're welcome to.
I heard rumor that you were in charge of an anonymous soup review Instagram in college. How does that happen? What does that entail?
I didn't know what to write down because I wasn't really a part of a lot of clubs, but my college cafeteria, there were always incredibly long lines to get food, except for the soup. So I would always just go to get soup to avoid the lines. And one day, my junior year, I decided, why don't I start publishing these and start telling everybody what I think about these soups every day? So I just started an Instagram account, and at first it was just for my friends, but it started getting followers around campus, and I didn't want anyone to know who I was. I was shy. I didn't want anybody to know it was me. But it got to a point where people were sending me submissions where if they had a soup on campus, they would write a whole review for it, and then I would post it on their behalf, or I would add commentary to it. People were making their own soups just in their dorms or in their houses and asking me to review them. And
whoa, wait, so were you like the gossip girl of soup?
No, you were like the Gordon Ramsay of soup.
Yes.
There you go.
I do make a mean chicken noodle, so I do have some soup authority.
Wait, did you tell this story during your interview? And Ang2, is that why Jane got hired?
XOXO.
Okay.
XOXO.
Well, okay.
I have to say, Kevin might have some competition now on the social media front on staff, as well as the youngest person on staff, because I think she's supplanted you, Kevin, as the youngest person on staff.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that during the Monday meeting.
And also,
well, we have to.
Okay.
I'll put that on the agenda. Let's put a pin in it for now.
I'm going to wrap up. So we've come to the end of the evening. Thank you for those who stuck along with us. You can always come back and watch any parts you missed. But before we sign off, I do want to just make sure to give Lily the opportunity to tell us a little bit about our upcoming production of Today Is My Birthday. Can you just fill us in a bit about like your vision and the process of what it's been like preparing for our first ever virtual full-length play?
Yes, wow, it is. It's our first virtual main stage production, and it's opening in February 6th. And so Today's My Birthday is by a playwright named Susan Soonhee Stanton, which was recently on the Emmy-winning team of writers on Succession. on HBO. So congratulations, Susan. And it's a wonderful play about a young woman's journey as a sort of like a 20, 30 something person and trying to find meaning in her life. She is a journalist who's moving from New York to her hometown in Hawaii. And she is searching for meaning amidst sort of the shambles of her life because her personal and her professional life are kind of in tatters. And it's really funny and heartfelt. And can I say who's playing Emily? Can I do that?
I don't
know. Oh, yeah.
I feel like you and Ang too are the people to...
I forgot to ask Ang too if it was okay. So Katie Bradley is playing Emily, and we're really excited. You know, a lot of you know Katie is one of our longtime Mu artists. And it's a wonderful play because you know, Susan could have been prescient, but she wrote it 3 years ago, but the characters do not share space together, even when it's staged in a theater. And they communicate through voicemails, phone calls, FaceTime calls, and a radio show. And it's really about finding connection through isolation because the characters are alone often and not not with each other, they're constantly trying to find connection with each other through these modes of communication. And I thought it was such a comment on what we're going through. You know, our season's about revolutions, and we're going through in the social evolution of the pandemic, and we're all trying to find connection, even though we can't be together. And so I really thought that it was a good play for our time, and moving and funny and smart. And it's giving us this great opportunity to create a new kind of art form in the virtual space. We're doing this not in the Zoom space. You won't see these quadrants, but we're doing it on a platform where we have more flexibility on what the show looks like. It's fully designed. We have 5 wonderful designers on it, and fully produced, and with a multi-camera shoot of the actors playing a variety of characters. And so it's not quite television because it's live, and television's usually edited, and it's not quite theater because it's video. So we're really creating a new art form of theater in this virtual space. And so we're really excited because it's going to be innovative and unlike what you've seen before in its dimensionality. And I also want to give a shout out to our streaming producer, Liana Keys. It's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Liana. And she is the streaming producer of Today Is My Birthday. And funnily enough, she's turning 29, which is the same age as Emily, the main character.
Cool.
Wow.
Well, tickets are on sale for Today Is My Birthday already. We have both live presentation as well as on demand, and you can follow that link in the chat, theatermu.org/link, to find out more information. But if you are still watching at this point, I really think you are a wonderful candidate for one of our main stage subscriptions. So I wanted to hand it off to our communication and marketing director / virtual producer / office organizer / video editor / fashion icon, Kevin, so he can tell you a bit about main stage subscription.
Yes, so I had a pitch, but that was before I chugged a flute or a coupe of champagne. So cut me off if I start rambling. Basically, season subscriptions are on sale. And you might be asking yourselves, why would you want to subscribe to us when a season subscription doesn't guarantee you a specific seat in the theater, because we have general seating? And you're not really getting that great of a discount because we have pay-as-you-are ticketing pricing. So you can really pay whatever you want. And so subscriptions really are here for people who are wanting that next level of support to Mu. You know, you can pay for a ticket, but maybe you want to proclaim your support for Mu. Maybe you want to let everybody know that you are part of the Mu family. Maybe you want to announce to people that your values align with the values of Theater Mu. Maybe you just want to be, as Angtu and Lily were, cheerleaders of one of your favorite arts organizations, and one of the only Asian American theater organizations in Minnesota, in the Midwest. And so really, you can subscribe to us and let us know that you are here for us. And in return, we'll let you know that we're here for you. Unlike other theaters, you know, we don't necessarily rely on subscriptions because we know that everybody really is just going to buy their tickets at the last minute anyways, and that's okay because we don't really care about subscriptions, but we care about our subscribers. And so as a subscriber, obviously you get your tickets reserved to our 2 main stage shows and also our special presentation show. And you can learn more about our main stage season on our website. But you'll get your tickets reserved, and also as a special thank you, you'll get special perks and benefits. You'll get special video, like special cooking videos to cook before you come to our shows. You'll get like kind of special treatment. You can email us, text us, call us anytime you want, like a restaurant recommendation, a recommendation on what to do before the theater. You'll get a special mask delivered to you to your house. I don't really know what the details, what that is, but apparently that's part of the plan. You'll get special invites to special kind of Zoom events, and also you'll get discounts to other theaters' shows when we get them. We'll pass them along to you. So really, it's just a way to be that next level of support and engagement with us. Maybe you're not ready to be like a monthly donor or a donor, but you want to be part of the family. So we are happy to have you.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Was that good?
That was great. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You can obviously tell that the 7 of us are really passionate about Mu's mission, and we're not a large organization, but we have really large goals and dreams. And the reason we can do it is because we have the support of people like you at home watching. So we're speaking with passion and we're speaking with joy because what we do every day is amazing work, and we want you all to partner with us. So this is the end, I promise now. Just a reminder that we are currently in the middle of our end of year Towards Something Grander campaign, and we are hoping to raise $20,000 by December 31st. And we're really passionate about the belief that small acts can be revolutionary. So please donate in any amount today by clicking on the link in the chat or through Facebook. And we really hope that we can all work towards something grander in 2021. So this broadcast will be available online, so feel free to share it with your friends. And thank you so much to the staff. I had such a fun time corralling you all. And chatting with you all and getting to know you a bit better. Thank you for dedicating your Friday night to doing that. And to everyone at home, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back in the new year with a lot of new and exciting content, and we hope you will be joining us. So cheers to you and good night.
Good night.
Cheers. Good night, all.
Bye. Thank you.
Peace out. Okay, wait.
Oh, shout out to our board members.
Yeah, thank you, board members.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay, wait. I have to take us offline.
Yeah. This is